Indian History for Competitive Exams Part 2. In the first part of this series on history, we have seen the events from 1857 to 1919. And here in this second part, we will see the events coming after 1919 to 1947, that is commonly known as during Gandhian Era. As I already told you, modern Indian history plays a very crucial role in exams like SSC, UPSC, railway, bank exams, state level PSC exams, insurance sector exams like that. And in order to score a better mark from this part within a very short time, you want to know what are the important things that we want to study and how we can study it. So here in this series, we have included only the very relevant points or very important points in the examination point of view. And we have tried our level best to include the repeated question from each part. As we have already seen in the first part of this series, the period from 1919 to 1947 is known as the Gandhian Era. And actually it starts with Rowlatt Act of 1919, which was made by the British government in 1919, which gave powers to the government to arrest and imprison suspects without any trial. And it was during the viceroyalty of Lord Chelmsford that the British government passed this act. And the arrest of Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal on April 10, 1919 under the Rowlatt Act in connection with Satyagraha caused serious unrest in Punjab. A public meeting was held in April 13, 1919 in a park called Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. Before the meeting could start, General Dyer ordered indiscriminate heavy firing on the crowd, and the people had no way out to escape. As a result, hundreds of women and children were killed and more than 1,200 people wounded. According to official sources, 379 were killed and thousands wounded. Michael O'Dwyer was the governor of Punjab during the event. Later, he was killed by Udham Singh. As a protest against this event, Tagore renounced his knighthood and Gandhiji renounced the title Kaiser-e-Hind. So the important points that we want to study from this part is it is the Rowlatt Act of 1919 which led to Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and Udham Singh was the person who killed Michael O'Dwyer, and Gandhiji renounced his title Kaisar-e-Hind and Tagore renounced his title knighthood in protection against which incident it was Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And the other important thing that we want to remember is the commission who appointed to inquire about this incident was Hunter Commission. It's a question which is getting repeatedly in most of the question paper. And the great patriot inspired with Amritsar tragedy and turned revolutionary was Bhagat Singh. And Plassey laid the foundation of the British Empire. Amritsar has shaken it. Who said this? It was Gandhiji. And another important event of 1919 was the Khilafat movement. The Caliph or Khalifa of Sultan of Turkey was looked upon by the Muslims as their religious head. During the First World War, when the safety and welfare of Turkey were threatened by the British, thereby weakening the Caliph's position, Indian Muslims adopted an aggressive anti-British attitude. The Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, launched an anti-British movement in 1920, that is the Khilafat movement for the restoration of the Khilafat. The non-cooperation movement of 1920. It was actually started by Gandhiji, and the two sessions of INC which is related to this non-cooperation movement are the Calcutta session, it was a special session, and the other one was Nagpur session. So please keep it in mind that it was in the Calcutta special session of Indian National Congress in September 1920 passed the resolution in favor of non-cooperation movement, and it is in that session the INC defined that Swaraj is its ultimate aim. But the resolution was ratified, that is, the resolution came into action in Nagpur section of Indian National Congress in December 1920. and it has actually mainly two parts. The non-cooperation programs like boycott of legislatures, give up foreign clothes, boycott of courts, schools, surrender of titles given by the government, etc. And the other constructive programs like building Hindu-Muslim unity, manufacturing of Swadeshi items were another. During the non-cooperation movement, the top leaders of the Indian National Congress, except Gandhi, were arrested. On 5th February 1922, when a peasant procession at Chauri Chaura in UP, that is Gorakhpur district, was fired upon by the police, the angry mob set fire to the police station, killing 22 policemen. The Chauri Chaura incident led to the suspension of the non-cooperation movement by Gandhi, and Gandhi's decision to call off the agitation caused frustration among the masses. And it is this withdrew of non-cooperation movement which led to the formation of Swaraj Party. Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das organized the Swaraj Party on 1923 as the Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party. And C.R. Das was the first president and Motilal Nehru was the first secretary. Actually, after the death of C.R. Das in 1925, the Swaraj Party lost its importance. So the important points that we want to remember from this session is the sole dictator of the non-cooperation movement was Gandhi, and the Chauri Chaura is in which district of UP? It is in Gorakhpur district, and which incident led to the withdrawal of non-cooperation movement? It was Chauri Chaura incident, and C.R. Das, the first president of Swaraj Party, and Motilal Nehru, the first secretary of Swaraj Party, and Swaraj Party formation in 1923. Before the meeting could start, General Dyer ordered indiscriminate heavy firing on the crowd, and the people had no way out to escape. As a result, hundreds of women and children were killed and more than 1,200 people wounded. According to official sources, 379 were killed and thousands wounded. Michael O'Dwyer was the governor of Punjab during the event. Later, he was killed by Udham Singh. As a protest against this event, Tagore renounced his knighthood and Gandhiji renounced the title Kaiser-e-Hind. Please keep it in mind the fact that it was in 1928 February 3rd that the Simon Commission came to India, and the commission appointed by the Indians in against the Simon Commission was Motilal Nehru Commission. And the other important facts that we want to remember from this session is which session of Indian National Congress passed the resolution to boycott Simon Commission? It was the Madras session of 1927. As I already mentioned to you, in November 1927 itself, a statutory commission was constituted by the British. So it was the Madras session of 1927 which determined to boycott the Simon Commission. And who was the president of Indian National Congress when anti-Simon Commission struggles organized? It was M.A. Ansari. Who was the national leader seriously wounded and died related to anti-Simon struggles? It was Lala Lajpat Rai, which is very important. Simon Commission report became the base for which constitutional reforms? Actually, the recommendations of Simon Commission became a very important part in the Government of India Act of 1935. It was in the middle of anti-Simon struggles, the historic and the very important Lahore session of Congress held under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. This session passed the famous resolution declaring Purna Swaraj, that is full independence, as the goal of national movement, which is again very important. In which session of INC the Purna Swaraj or the full independence is declared as the goal of national movement? It was in Lahore session. And Nehru hoisted the national tricolor flag on the banks of the river Ravi at the midnight of 31st December 1929. The Congress Working Committee asked the people to observe 26 January 1930 as Independence Day, and the same session authorized Gandhi to start a non-violent civil disobedience movement. So please keep it in mind that it is the Lahore session of 1929 which authorized Gandhi to start civil disobedience movement. And the civil disobedience movement was started with Gandhi's famous Dandi march from 12th March to 6th April. Gandhi made salt at Dandi, disobeying salt law. The other repeated questions and other important points that we want to remember from this part are: Independence pledge that read during civil disobedience movement was prepared by Gandhiji, and who called Gandhi's breaking of salt law as simply a storm in a teacup? It was Lord Irwin. And who was the eminent leader of civil disobedience movement at Peshawar? It was Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Who founded the Guthai Gitmadkars, popularly known as Red Shirts? It was Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan again. And Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was popularly known as Frontier Gandhi. And you want to remember two other leaders who led the civil disobedience movement in Tanjore and Malabar coast. In Tanjore, it was Rajagopalachari. Actually, it was at Vedaranyam in Tamil Nadu. And in Malabar coast, that is in Kerala portion, it was K. Kelappan in a place known as Payyannu was the leader. So you want to remember three important leaders regarding civil disobedience movement. First one, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Second one, in Tanjore, Rajagopalachari. And in Malabar coast, it was K. Kelappan. When civil disobedience movement was at its heights, the British government summoned the Round Table Conference in November 1930 to discuss the Simon Commission report. The Congress boycotted the conference. The absence of Congress was felt by the government, and a second Round Table Conference was decided to summon. To negotiate an agreement with Congress, Lord Irwin, the Viceroy, talks with Gandhi. After a negotiation for 15 days, an agreement was signed by Gandhi and Irwin, which is generally known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact, on 5th March 1931. And the third round table conference happened in 1932. So the other important thing that you want to remember is the British Prime Minister who summoned the round table conference in London was Ramsay MacDonald. Please keep it in mind that Gandhiji participated in the second round table conference, and the Gandhi-Irwin Pact was in 1931. And the person who attended all the three round table conference was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And Sarojini Naidu also participated in second round of round table conference along with Gandhiji. During the Second World War period, Japan occupied Burma in March 1942. Actually, it posed a real threat of the safety of India. And Britain was so anxious to the active cooperation of the Indians in its war efforts. That is, Britain wanted active cooperation of Indians. So in March 1942, the British War Cabinet sent one of its members, Sir Stafford Cripps, to India with new constitutional proposals. Cripps' proposals promised India dominion status immediately after the war. Mahatma Gandhi described the Cripps proposals as a post-dated check, and the Cripps mission proved a total fail. And failed in his mission, Cripps left India on 12 April 1942. After the failure of Cripps' mission, Congress decided to take direct action to compel the British to accept Indian demand for independence. The Indian National Congress, which met at Bombay, passed the historic Quit India Resolution on 8 August 1942. So it was the Bombay session which passed the Quit India Resolution in 1942, August 8. And it was decided to start a non-violent mass struggle under Gandhi on the very next day, that is on August 9, 1942. So Quit India Day observed on 9th August 1942. but the government reacted harshly and Gandhi and all the top leaders were arrested in the early morning of 9 August 1942 and Congress once again declared illegal. So the other facts that you want to remember is the Quit India Day observed on 9th August and the mantra of Quit India movement given by Gandhiji was do or die. So do or die slogan is associated with Quit India movement of 1942. And the woman leader who led the Quit India movement after the arrest of Gandhi was Aruna Asif Ali. And one other important incident that occurred in 1946 is the Royal Indian Navy mutiny. It was started in 18th February of 1946 in a naval ship Talwar. Actually, the 5-day long RIN mutiny had its origin naturally at Bombay, and the ratings formed a naval Central Strike Committee with M.S. Khan and Madan Singh as its president and vice president. So you don't want to remember all those things, but please keep it in mind that it was in 1946 that the RIN mutiny happened and it was a naval ship Talwar. The non-cooperation movement of 1920. It was actually started by Gandhiji and the two sessions of INC which is related to this non-cooperation movement are the Calcutta session, it was a special session, and the other one was Nagpur session. So please keep it in mind that it was in the Calcutta special session of Indian National Congress in September 1920 passed the resolution in favor of non-cooperation movement, and it is in that session the INC defined that Swaraj is its ultimate aim. But the resolution was ratified, that is, the resolution came into action in Nagpur section of Indian National Congress in December 1920. And it has actually mainly two parts. The non-cooperation programs like boycott of legislatures, give up foreign clothes, boycott of courts, schools, surrender of titles given by the government, etc. And the other constructive programs like building Hindu-Muslim unity, manufacturing of Swadeshi items were another